here. I'm joining Rebelton in support of UNICEF, and I'm joining in from Czech Republic, from Rebel Legion Lion Base, and I'm joining with two amazing actresses, with Mary Oyaya and Nalini Krishan. We know them as Luminara Unduli and Barry Sophie, Master Jedi and her Padawan. Hi. Welcome. Thank you for joining
Thank
in.
you.
And
Thank you.
Yeah, because there's mostly Star Wars fans watching. So we are, of course, going to talk about Star Wars. And I would like to start with the basic question. What was your first encounter with Star Wars? Do you recall your first impressions and emotions? You can start.
Okay, I'll go first. Yeah, my actual memory of Star Wars was when first memory really was when I watched the Ewok Adventures. As a child, it was on TV and I was very mesmerized by it. And I know it was very intriguing, what were these little creatures and what is this movie? And then I was slowly introduced to, the original three. But my first experience was the Ewok Adventures, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
I would say my first experience was, I think, Return of the Jedi, and I found it so interesting. And it's like I was just glued to the screen, and I was like somehow trying to understand what's going on because everything was so different from all the other movies I'd watched. But I have to say I really enjoyed it. It was really, I got so intrigued, and from there I was like, wow, Star Wars, what's Star Wars? Yeah.
So your first experience with Star Wars was like with the video or with the like TV broadcast or something, or not, or in the cinema, like on the big screen?
No, mine was a video.
Yeah, it was late.
Yeah, mine was TV. Mine was on TV. It was showing on TV, and so I just saw it and I started watching it. It wasn't planned. It was just on TV. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. So, and yeah, how did you get the role in episode 2 in Star Wars? Was it by casting? Was it casting for the specific role you knew about, or did you have enough information like the names of characters and stuff like that, or was it developed later, or you found out later how it was for you?
Mary, do you want to go first?
Yeah. When I got for me, it was a casting, and I had an agent. And actually, when I went for the casting, it was I didn't have much information about it. I just knew, wow, Star Wars is in town, and and I had to go for a casting, and everything was happening really quick. And I was like, I didn't have any information of the character or whatever. I just knew I was going for a Star Wars casting. And everything was like stages, you know what I mean? Like different stages of the casting. And eventually I got the part, and that's how it was. I had no information of the character.
Yeah, because I think, back then with episode 2, it was already like Star Wars was the thing, so they were kind of secretive, I think. Yes,
very, very secretive. Yeah. We couldn't even say anything about it, so
Yes, that's very true. And I actually didn't do a casting, which was actually very surprising, because I was always so used to going to auditions and casting for this and casting for that and second auditions, and and I was expecting that. And it was really interesting because when I had applied, I was we were with modeling agencies, and I had actually I was working at Fox Studios Australia, and I was working there as sort of like an attractions host for this sort of it was like a theme park that was open at Fox Studios back then. And so one of the actors came up to me and said, "Oh, they're actually asking everyone to put their names in for Star Wars. You have to get your name in, you have to get your name in." And I was like, I think the executive producer from Star Wars had asked, and so someone quite significant, and I had not got it in. I didn't get my name in, and I was like, "Oh, I missed it." But then my agent called me, and she said, "Oh, they, Lucasfilm wants to see you." And I was like, "Okay, this is interesting. Why?" But obviously for something. So they didn't say you're there for an audition. They didn't say you're there for a casting. They said nothing. They want to see you. So she said, "You need to be here at this time on this day." So I went to Fox Studios, and I literally was being fitted for the role. And there was this image of this thing. I mean, it was like, okay, what is this? There's this cape and this hood, and obviously there was sort of, this character. Little did I know it was Barasofi, but they were looking at this image and they were doing measuring on my body against these images. So I was like, okay, well, I'm being fitted out for something, but what is this? I had no idea. I mean, obviously I knew, okay, it has to do with Star Wars, but do I have this role now? No one told me I had a role. It was just landed on my lap. So I've never experienced anything like that before. I'd definitely say it was a godsend, because things like that don't happen without, you being cast, or, you going for an audition or something like that. So that's how I got it as well. Unbeknown to me, I didn't know anything about it, didn't know who I was playing, just knew they were fitting me for this character. And it kind of really unfolded as we got on set, and as, after post-production and so forth. It was all very hush-hush, confidential, and we didn't know much. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
Okay, so what was your reaction when you find out? Yeah, when you find out that you had been cast to play a Jedi Knight. Yeah, because I think you at least knew that Jedi Knight.
Yes,
or something.
yeah. I mean, it was. I mean, yeah. When I got on set and I learned she was Jedi, I was like, wow, this is really unique. I didn't have a lot of information about the character, because there wasn't really much information about this character, really, except for in the book The Approaching Storm. No one really knew about this character. It wasn't a character that was developed in the previous 3 films. It was a very new character, and people only knew about her because of The Approaching Storm, the book that was really the prequel to episode 2. So even the character was new, and even knowing anything about the character was, that was something we didn't know. But just knowing that I was actually invited to be in the actual film, and that I was given this privileged position, was actually just such an honor and so exciting. So much fun. And yeah, it was like the highlight of my life, I have to say. It was one of the best acting experiences I've had. So yeah, it was an awesome experience.
That's very true. It was such an awesome experience. I mean, it was so exciting that when Star Wars got finished and went out of town, I really missed it, because it was so fun and we could interact with so many people that we never interacted with before. And when I heard that I got the role, I was, it's like really surreal. You kind of believe it, and but you still don't believe that you really got it till you actually go on set, and you're still like, okay, I'm going for this role, and I'm here on set, and all this stuff is going on, and you're trying to find your place in the whole situation and stuff. So it was quite an interesting experience, and it was so much fun.
Okay, so when you got on set, we see you first time in episode 2 in the Chancellor's office with actors like Ian McDiarmid and Samuel L. Jackson, and what it was like to work with them. Yeah, I guess it was not like maybe your first scene which was shot. It maybe could be different, but what it was like.
The first thing I noticed is like they are real professionals. Like they're very professional in what they do, and it's like they know what to do, and you're like, okay, I need to catch up. But even as you work with them, it's not about, oh, I'm the biggest actor or anything. No, it was all about the job. And it's like everyone is equal and they talk to everybody, and they were very friendly. And but one thing you notice, like, they're real professional at their job and they really do it well. And so it sort of, makes you also, try to catch up, and because it's your first, serious movie, and you're like, oh wow, these guys are really good. I better just do what, I have to do. So it's very encouraging to work with them. They were very encouraging, and yeah, it was worth it. It was worth it.
Yeah, and I agree with everything
Right.
that Mary said, but it was also a lot of fun. I mean, it was very professional, but also fun. I mean, I remember Samuel Jackson. I mean, I asked him to recite a scene from Pulp Fiction. I'm surprised he actually even remembered, but he did. He recited a scene. We spoke about it. He was very approachable. I mean, I remember I was sitting in before we even filmed, I was sitting in a room, I think, waiting to go into the makeup, chair just to do, obviously test makeup before we filmed. And he was there with his assistant and struck up a conversation, and very personable and very friendly and just super nice. So, having that experience it was great to see that, people are down to earth and just really lovely and, professional, and there's no egos or anything like that on set. And just the fact when I asked him, can you recite this scene from Pulp Fiction, he did it for me. And the guy was just a lot of fun. But there was a lot of great people on set. It wasn't just Samuel Jackson, of course, but everybody was just so nice. And when you have experiences like that, you learn a lot from that, and then you take that to the next job and the next job, and you learn a lot from these professionals. So it was great. Yeah. And I actually think that, Mary, didn't you have a party or something, and you invited Samuel to come to a party that you had or something? I think that's how down to earth he was.
Yeah, that's how down to earth they actually were. That's how down to earth he was, and everyone at the place. And I think Ahmed was there. Ahmed
Best as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Do you remember what were your directions for this scene? Or did you get some elaborate directions, or was it more free? Or did you have here's your mark and go there, and because of all green screens and stuff like that?
I'll answer that first, just very quickly. I lost my train of thought as I'm doing the interview. Okay, I'm sorry. We're going to ask you to repeat the question. I'm so sorry. Just if you can ask me again.
Yeah, sure. Do you remember your directions for this scene? Was it very specific?
I was going to say something and then I got distracted. So I actually have to say that the council scenes, there wasn't a lot of direction because we had to stand still. We were very focused on Ian McDermott and his character and just everything that was going on in that particular scene. But it was when we got to the fight scene specifically, because we had to learn tandem fighting, we had very specific choreography, we had very specific direction, and we had very, sort of a strict protocol that we had to follow for those scenes. But for the other scenes, I think they expected us to know, well, you're in the Jedi Council and you're here for a meeting, so you must be focused, and it's a serious situation. So, you understand that in the direction, but they weren't very specific when it came to those scenes, more specific with the fight scenes.
Yeah, because there wasn't much direction and everything was happening really quick. Like it would go and stand where we're supposed to stand, and they'll be like, oh, you stand over here, do this and do that. And as soon as they're done, the scene starts and they start shooting and everything just keeps moving forward. So yeah, but the fight scenes were a little different. Like Nalini said, we had a lot of specific directions. But on those other scenes, no, we didn't have a lot of direction.
Mm-hmm. I will just go back again to the chancellor's office scene. Do you remember if there was like some Yoda puppet or CGI something like, yeah, balls with the points on it or something like that? Or yeah, because you said you had to be focused on Jan and what's happening there. So do you remember if it was like this, some puppet or something?
Yeah, I do. It was actually, from memory, it was like almost like a Yoda cast or like a Yoda doll that was sitting in a box. And when they were doing the scene, they would actually push the actual Yoda into the scene, and then they would move him out based on where he was walking, you know, where the CGI would go in. But they actually did have physically had a toy or something of Yoda in a box that someone was actually physically moving in and out, depending on the scene that they were doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were talking about the action scenes. Barris and Luminara, they have kind of specific costumes. They are not like traditional Jedi's we saw before. What it was like to move in those costumes, yeah, to do those fight scenes with all the choreography and stuff.
Nalini, you want to go first on this one?
What was it like? I remember, I have this memory of the assistant director laughing at us, and we had a laugh about it at the end. But when we were doing these scenes, I mean, the costumes are very heavy. Okay, they were very heavy, and I was wearing a cape that was just so heavy, and we had to do this scene, this tandem scene. Remember that, Mary? And we were back to back. And we had to fight back to back doing the same scene. It was incredibly difficult. And then my hood came off, and then they had to stop and say cut, and then we had to put it back on. And there's all these distractions because of the costume that we were wearing that did impact, you know, how we acted on set. Obviously for the fight scene, it was difficult, but I remember we were wearing these contacts. I had my own blue contacts that I bought. And with the blue contacts, I remember that my eyes were so red because we'd worn them, you know, we're doing 14-hour days, 15-hour days, and we'd have to, you know, constantly get eye drops put in. And then the light was so bright and everyone was burning up in these like warm bodysuits and skirts and capes. And so, yeah, there were some challenges with the costumes, definitely.
Yeah, because I had an issue, like my skirt was quite heavy, like at the bottom. It was quite heavy, and then so running with it was also kind of a bit hard. And somehow like fighting with the lightsabers, it was also a little challenging, you know. I also had the issue with the contact lenses. They would dry up and they would give us eye drops all the time. And other than that, it was okay. It was all right. But the costumes, yes. My skirt was quite heavy.
Yeah, because
I mean, at the bottom. Yeah.
But yeah, we are wearing like these costumes, like light versions made by us, and I can't imagine like what had to be for you to wear this heavy movie stuff. Yeah, because for you, Mary, it looks like it's from leather or something. Some parts of it, yeah. So I believe the skirt should be really heavy, like
there
difficult.
was a leather belt on it as well, and then they had some weights at the bottom. But the whole costume, the good thing about the whole costume is like at that time it was winter in Australia, so we would go outside and wouldn't feel so cold. So it was, you know, and I had boots on and, you know, all those tights and stuff. So that was a good part of the costume. But it was still good. I like it was comfortable, really soft. Apart from the heaviness, it was really soft, very comfortable, and kept me warm.
Yeah.
Do you remember how long it took you to get into the costume, and was it difficult? Like, yeah, like get into the costume and do the makeup, or let them do your makeup?
The makeup took a while, actually. Mine took about 2 hours to do. And then, but the costume took much less time because it was just, put on this, put on that, put on that. But the makeup, and I would start with the lenses, the contact lenses. Then they would do the face, and that took quite a while.
Yeah, I remember the whole thing took about 6 hours to do. And I remember being on set like 5 a.m. in the morning, and by 10 o'clock, 10:30 would be on set because it took so long. And I had like those tattoos on my face, so they would hand paint those tattoos. There wasn't sort of like a stencil or like a, there wasn't anything special. They'd have to apply it manually. So it was like a manual application of tattoos, where they were putting them. So that took time. And then the painting of the skin, that yellowish skin that we had. And then there was difficulty with the costume, because I remember when we had to go to the bathroom, I mean, we would have to get help, like, to gather up the skirt and everything. And you'd have 3 people helping you get everything ready just so you could go to the bathroom, because it was just so much material and so heavy. And it wasn't, it looks easy to use, but, like easy to be in, but to just do the simple things like going to the bathroom, that was actually quite difficult, actually in the costume. But it was very elaborate, and with these beautiful costumes. Everything was beautiful about the experience. Everything was beautiful, the way that they did the makeup, the fact that they did it, sort of bit by bit, and it was done by hand. It was just amazing. It was an amazing process from beginning to end.
Yeah, you said that about the characters, you find out like as things like went on and later on. Did you get some info about why their costumes are so different from like generic Jedi? Because usually Jedi Knights, until then they had like 10 tunics, brown capes, and then Luminara and Barrys have like these elaborate skirts and like different costumes, like darker, and yeah, the makeup and stuff. Did you get some info about that back then?
I don't think we did. Did we, Mary? I don't think we really got any information.
No, we didn't get
that.
any information. No,
yeah, they just put you into those costumes, and
yeah. I think it has maybe a lot to do with there were new Jedis, probably maybe also where they were from. Maybe that's well, they're from different places, so we'll have different costumes for them. Maybe this is the norm for where they're from. So possibly, but yeah, we were never given sort of any insight into that.
So you had to find out after. Okay, so your characters, Barrys and Luminara, they spend a lot of time together. They are master and Padawan. How it was for you? Did you spend a lot of time together? Like, yeah, I see that you really are friends. So what it was like to be together on set? Do you have some funny stories from filming? Yeah, you
Mary.
Want to share?
Mary, you can answer this one first.
I remember the times like we were on set. Okay, apart from just mostly working, like Nalini said, we would chill out with the other actors, like in between shoots and stuff like that. We actually did, especially in the arena scene, we worked together, like we needed to work together in tandem to get the scenes done and to get our characters like to do what they're supposed to do. So it was quite helpful that I had Nalini there as a support system in this whole new, place where you don't know anybody. So it was, I'm really grateful that at least I had my Padawan there with me. No, I didn't have any information. I didn't know, like, I didn't have the details of who, what's really happening. But I knew, okay, they tell us we have to be together. We're doing things together. So, okay, this is great.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we actually, believe it or not, lived in the same suburb. So we did bond actually and became friends because we would drive in together. I know my mother used to actually drive us in like together. I'd pick up Mary and then would drive in and would drive back because we happened to live, I think it was only 5 minutes from each other. And we didn't know that until we actually started filming. So we were very close to each other at the time where we were living. So, we got to bond over those drives in because, we were quite far from the actual studio. I mean, we've done a few shows together now. We've done quite a few together over the years. And I think it was a few years back that I saw you, wasn't it, in Germany? We did a show together as well. So
2018.
Yeah. And we do keep in touch. And we also keep in touch with some of the other actresses as well, like Amy Allen, who played Ayla Sakura, Orly Shoshan, just a few of the different actors, definitely. Bonnie Pierce. There's just, there's a few of us in the Star Wars universe that have sort of become lifelong friends that keep in touch, or we'll see each other at a show and we'll catch up, or we'll sort of say hello to each other on Facebook. And there's that community that we now have together, which is just awesome. It's like a lifetime community of friends,
like a family.
That's great. Amazing. Reportedly, there should be scenes where your characters should actually die, because most of the Jedi should die during Order 66. Were you approached about this, or were those scenes like cut out even before it got to production on filming?
I know that I was meant to film. They didn't say what I was going to film. They just said I was going to film, and they said we'll let you know, but they never ended up filming. So either they decided that her fate was unknown, or maybe she didn't die, or sort of her character has gone through quite a few different storylines, but I think they made that a sort of a indefinite by not filming a death scene. So I didn't never end up filming anything, even though I was. I think we're both meant to, and it was going to be in the works, but maybe they ran out of time. Not really sure, but nothing happened in terms of extra filming for death scenes or anything like that.
Yeah, we were supposed to film, but they didn't. Nothing really happened.
Yeah, I think they realized that they can't show all of those Jedi die. Yeah, that just few of them is enough. Okay. Your characters throughout the years, they do not appear only on the big screen. Like, they appear in books, comic books, series. Do you keep up with those stories? Like, do you know or try to at least somehow follow what happened to them? What were the fates of your characters?
In short, yes. I mean, there's so many things to watch, right? There's the Clone Wars, there's the Star Wars Rebels, there's so much to watch. And people tell you, I mean, even our wonderful fans will say, hey, did you know that this happened? You're like, what? I need to go and watch this now. That this happens a lot with characters. Like, if something significant happens, and you will find out. But yes, I mean, we've seen ourselves quite a bit in the Clone Wars, and I know Barris's fate wasn't very good. It wasn't very positive. It was a sort of I have very mixed feelings actually about what happened to her, and the fact that they said that she rebelled against the order, and the reason why she did it was kind of I don't know, there was a bit of confusion around why she did it. Did she have the right intentions? And why did she kill Ahsoka? And there's just all these questions that there is around the actual character. So I did learn of that, and I think it was a big shock to a lot of the fans, because we don't think it was in line with her character. But they also have left that very open. So who really knows what happened to her after that? Because so one day they're saying in this particular this in the Clone Wars this happened, and then in something else that happened. So the
Mhm.
fate of the characters is very sort of open, but it's but yeah, we definitely learnt what happened to the characters through those different channels.
Yeah, and for example, the book Approaching Storm, I like the way it actually shows Luminara and Barris of his characters in depth. You get to know their temperament, you get to know, how their values, how they react to different things, and that kind of stuff. I found it very informative. Um, and I like what they did with all the animation out there. So yeah, I do keep, I do keep up as well.
Yeah, I think when you do some events like conventions, yeah, you find out anyway. Like fans
That's
will
right.
talk about it. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have some kind of like story you would like to like be told, like the fate or something you think your character should do or would like to see?
I would like to see Barris redeemed, because I think people really misunderstood her and her intentions and why she did what she did. And I think that they think she's just simply become she's just turned, and she hasn't really. I think that there's more to it that we don't know. So I'd like to see that explored, that part of her character. And I would like to see her come together again with Luminari and Dooley and go on some adventures. I think that would be great, I really
I
think
think we need to know more about how the two of them, we need to know more information about them, Luminara, and why does she have family? Does she, we need to know more about where they come
Background.
from and stuff like that. Yeah, we don't have enough background information to know why they did the things they did and why they behave the way they do. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we pretty much covered most of the questions. I have one more questions for both of you. If you have some social media or public pages where people can follow you, both of you.
Yeah. You want to go first, Nalini?
No, I was just going to say I'm on Instagram under, actually I've got 2 Instagram accounts for Star Wars. The main one is Jedi Nalini, and then I'm under the real Nalini Krishan, but Jedi Nalini is more for Star Wars. And then I'm just under Nalini Krishan on Facebook, and I also have 2 fan pages, Nalini and Nalini Krishan, I think it is, on Facebook as well. And I'm on Twitter and all of those, but I'm not really sure what the what the actual name is on Twitter. But and TikTok, I believe I'm on as well under Nalinika, Nalinaka. But yeah, Instagram and Facebook are my 2 sort of main social media accounts that I use.
For me, it's mostly Instagram, and on Instagram, I'm Mary Oyaya, but the account is Oyaya Mary. And I'm mostly active on Instagram. Then there's Facebook, but now I can't access my Facebook as it is at the moment. And also, all the questions that we've been asked, I expanded, and there's more detail on them in my book, Instinct, Time and Place. And it's available as an ebook on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iBooks, and Kobo. And then the paperback is not out, but it's going to be out by June. So I'm going to announce it on Instagram as well. Once it's out, I'm going to announce it on Instagram. But yeah, I go in depth about my Star Wars experience and some of my background, stuff about myself and how I came to be in Star Wars, and just, normal background stuff and things like that. How it was on set, that kind of thing. stuff that fans always ask me about. And I think they would like to know.
Yeah.
I really go in
So
depth about
more
it.
in-depth answers
Yeah.
for questions we had today,
Mhm.
we can find in your book. Yeah, I have to get it.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks.
Okay, so that's all. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, thank you, Mary. Thank you, Nalini. And
Thank you.
Thank
for
you for having us.
For you all who joined Rebelthon, please donate. It's for a good thing. It's in support of UNICEF. So donate, share our stream, and see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.